everyone. Thank you for joining in to this summer series call. Today is Monday, July 24th, and we are going to be discussing gut health this evening. I'm so happy that you took some time out of your busy life, your busy summer, to invest in your wellness and your learning journey. So tonight we are going to be hearing from Dr. Oli Wenker about the gut microbiome and all things related to gut health. He's going to be sharing with us how our gut health really affects all of the areas of our health. And before we jump into that, I want to let you know that today's workshop that we're going to be watching was recorded at the Young Living Convention, which happened earlier this month in Salt Lake City, Utah. It is an incredible opportunity if you can ever avail yourself of getting on a plane and getting out there for one of these conventions. You will be so enriched by the experience. I have been to many over the years, going back as far as 2015, and they have always been tremendously rewarding, so educational, and inspiring. The speakers that we get to hear from are experts in the industry, in their fields of wellness. And it's just always such a great learning experience. So I was not able to attend in person this year, but I purchased a virtual ticket, which allowed me to be able to stream those sessions and the workshops, and then to share those with you on the summer series call. So we are going to have some time after we wrap up this evening to have some live interactive chat, which is usually my favorite part. I love to see you guys and hear your questions and just interact with you a little bit. But for the sake of time, we will jump right into the educational component with Dr. Oli Wenker. After that, we're going to be hearing from Jami Nato, who is one of the most hysterical people I have ever had the pleasure of watching and listening to. She's going to be talking to us a little bit about Young Living consumable products. Those are the supplements and things like that, and also strategies for sharing Young Living with people in your sphere of influence. So definitely stick around for that. The call should last no more than an hour of content, and then, like I said, we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. So I hope that you will stick with us, and if you have any feedback or comments as we go through, anything that's sticking out to you, feel free to use the chat feature to chat amongst yourselves, and I will definitely weigh in and read those comments and stuff as we go through as well. All right, so like I said, we are going to be listening tonight to Dr. Oli Wenker, and his session is going to be about 35 minutes long. So we should be finished with him in just about a half an hour. Let's see if I am sharing the right screen. I think you've got my Facebook screen up there right now. Hang tight. Here is the good doctor. And let me enlarge my screen so that you guys can see the whole thing. Oops.
Thank you. Hey! Oh, there's still 3 people here. Good. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, that's me. Don't look at the titles. They confuse myself too, so no problem with that. Look, this is a very important slide because I do not use teleprompter, never use them and never will. So I may say stuff, and if I do so, it's not my fault. It's a divine inspiration, right? That's how we kind of say it. But let's go into something, that Gary always said, you need to know your soil to know your oil, right? Because the soil is a living micro cosmos that we need to have healthy plants. Now, your body is not different at all, right? You need a healthy soil for a healthy body. And today we talk about gut health, like we have many times already. So, the gut is alive, right? You feel it. Some of you are a little nervous, so you feel a little bit too much. You have to run too much. Most of you feel a little too little, so it doesn't come often enough, but it's a living thing. But what I'm talking about right now is not the bowel movement. What I'm talking about is the stuff that you just discard every single day. Hopefully, you just flush it down. That is pure gold. That brown stuff is absolute pure gold. And if I could give you a good gift, I would just give it to you right now, right? It's so valuable. You don't even can imagine. So whenever I speak, I want you to have an objective. So about a half an hour from now, I want you to know something. And what I want you to do is to start because you have heard already mention about the microbiome. So the question is, what is the microbiome? I'm going to explain that to you one more time. When I talked about the microbiome 10, 15 years ago in the hospitals, all my other friends, the physicians, were rolling their eyes. Here comes the poop doctor again. I told them, this is so valuable. No, they flush it down the toilet, right? So today, I really want you to make those connections between this brown gold that you have inside you to your brain, to your immune system, to your gut in general, your digestion, to your thyroid gland, which runs your whole metabolism, to your immune system. That is so important these days. So I hope in a half an hour from now, you're going to be able to at least start making connection between some of these guts. Now, there's a reason why for hundreds of years, in multiple languages, people have always said, follow your gut. Follow your gut instinct. Oh, I have this sinking feeling in my gut. There's a reason for that. In old cultures, the gut was called the second brain. The old Chinese culture, old Ayurvedic medicine, old European cultures, they understood. These guys had no idea about the modern research that we can do gene arrays and look at the microscope. They didn't have that. But what they did, the shamans, the healers, they realized if your gut doesn't work, your memory is not working. Your mood is bad. You're like in a bad mood all day long. You cry, you laugh. We don't know why. So this is all that stuff that you need to realize. And science is catching on. So here this article said there's a super highway between your brain and your gut, and it holds a great sway on your body over humans. What does that mean? It has control. Your gut controls your brain to a certain extent, right? So how does that really work? Who sends these signals to the brain if there's such a control down here of what's going on up here? Well, let me tell you, these are little microbes. These are bacteria, these are viruses, these are fungi. This is the stuff in medicine we have been trying to kill for now about 100 years. And by doing so, we have basically committed suicide. We have done the wrong thing now for at least all these, I'm not saying antibiotics is bad, right? We can save lives in the right moment with the right antibiotic. But we have been killing microbes left and right, and you have done the same mistake. Your kid is playing outside, comes home all dirty and all that, and licks the finger of all the dirt, and you say, don't do that. And then you go and, everything is sprayed down and some teeth on top of that, which is good. Every once in a while, you need to do that. But they need to be alive. These microbes are everywhere, in you and on you. And so they're sending signals to the brain. Now, what's the importance of that? The brain, you think, is the command center, right? You're always thinking, oh, this guy is intelligent, he's brilliant, he has a great brain. Well, when it comes to the gut and these organs that you have there, and you have plenty of those, remember, I was in the OR many times, you can reach down and pull out a bunch of stuff when this is open, it's full of stuff. Well, guess what? 85% of all the signals come not from the brain, come from down here, go up to the brain, and only 15% of the signals go back down. So there's a meaning of that. So what is the microbiome? The microbiome, in very simple terms, are all those nasty little bugs, microbes that live on you and in you. The astonishing thing is, you have trillions and hundreds of trillions of those. You really look at that. When I look at you, and I don't really see you with all the light. I should put on sunglasses, right? But I just see you enough here. When I see you, about only 10% of you is a human cell. 90% of you is bacteria. So when I look at this group over there, you're just a bunch of nasty bacteria over there. And you're laughing here, you're just a nasty fungus. Right? You're not much better. So this is where we are. And when it comes to the genetic information, what we inherit from mommy and papi or mommy and daddy, only 0.5% from each, and 99% of the genetic information in our body comes from all these microbes. It's that important. Now, most of these microbes, you find them everywhere, but most of them are in the colon, in the gut. So there must be a reason, right? So why do we have all these microbes in the gut? Well, they help us digest food, right? They help us to repair and maintain the gut wall. We heard about this morning a little bit about the gut wall. They support your immune system. So if we have a pandemic going on where we're kind of at the end of it, hopefully, and your gut is not okay, do you think you can have something against this pandemic? I mean, it's your gut. You need to take care of your gut. We'll come back to that, right? They detoxify compounds. They produce vitamins that you have trouble eating, right? Or producing in your body. They influence your thyroid. Therefore, they influence your metabolism. Whether you can lose weight or you only weight gain has all to do, and we'll come back to that, to the gut, right? They influence your brain and so much more. Well, let's look how we eat. I told you, you need a healthy gut. This is how we prepare our food, especially here in the United States, right? We put fertilizer, herbicides, and pesticides everywhere. The most used herbicide, called glyphosate, is also the most used herbicide, fertilizer, or pesticides here in the United States. When you look up the patent of that stuff, they redo the patents every 10, 15 years to get a longer lifetime. One of the last patents said it's an antibiotic. So we are preparing your food, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner with antibiotics. Okay, what do antibiotics do? They kill a bunch of stuff in the soil. You eat that stuff. Okay, what do you think? I just told you, your gut is full of what? Microbes. What do antibiotics do with microbes? They kill it. They kill bacteria. You have trillions of them. So you have this whole battlefield. And unfortunately, here in the US, the allowable amount, yeah, there's something like that. The FDA, FTC, all these government agencies, or the EPA probably, looked at what is a maximum allowable amount that we allowed to poison you. And in Europe, that amount is way lower because they started banning this stuff because they're realizing how bad it is for the human body. So you're eating really every single day, you're eating stuff that basically kills your microbiome. And so we need to stop doing that. But let's look at this golden or the brown gold, right? Here's a study where they said, well, if it's really that important and the brain connection is here, can we see this in babies? And so they took babies, and here I'll show you the study. They took 100 babies and they looked at the poop after the first birthday and after the second birthday. And then they also look at the brain size with some imaging, and they looked with some tests at intelligence. And what they found, those people, those babies that have a healthier microbiome, all these microbes, were way more intelligent. And there are other studies that show that at the age of 7, teenagers and even adults. So obviously this poop is really valuable that you have. It's a living mass. It's a mass full of intelligence, right? Well, let's go back to that food that we're eating. So here they did another study, and they looked in Africa where there's relatively healthy food, right? So a lot of nuts, plants, maybe an avocado. And they looked at, represented in the color pie chart underneath, to look at the families of microbes, the microbiome. And you see with relatively healthy food, a lot of green families. These are healthy families. So if you have healthy gut, you already know you probably have a healthy brain, right? I showed you that data. Then we look at what happened in Europe and the US, where everything is sprayed on the field and then it's over processed before you eat it. Look at the colors. You have more red. Red are bad families. So what I'm telling you here right now, just to connect these dots, bad food creates a bad microbiome, which creates a bad body. Okay, so watch what you eat. I mean, you knew that all along. This made in America, this is the biggest pandemic ever in the world, in the history of worldkind. Made in America. It started here. It's the obesity pandemic. It's going around the world. Wherever these American companies go, whether it's fast food or processed food, wherever they go, this is happening. Well, I already told you, when this is happening, you have a worse microbiome. And so that's not good. So let's have a look at that. So here you have, you know, that consuming a Western diet over processed food and all fatty food and all that stuff makes you obese in the first place, and too much sugar, right? So at this time, they looked also at the microbiome, and as you see, it was a bad microbiome. In other words, more of those red color bacteria that you don't want. So they said, okay, we'll do something. We'll take the poop, this valuable stuff, from one person. In that case, they started with mice, but we do this with humans. They took the poop from one person and just stuffed it in the same hole in the other person, right? With mice, that's easy. You take a cat or you split it in. What happened? So they took obese poop from obese mice, put it into thin mice, and the thin mice gained weight right away. They became obese. So it's not just the food that said what the microbiome will do. The microbiome itself will tell you how the person will look like when it comes to obesity. So they did the same thing in the other way around. They took poop from the thin mice and shoved it up the obese mice. And what happened with the obese mice? She shrunk, became thin. So we call this fecal transplantation, right? It's being done in medicine mostly for gut diseases, and I can tell you the success rate of fecal transplants is way above 90%, it looks like, whereas pharmaceuticals in those gut diseases are far away from that. But I have already seen now clinics that do fecal transplants for body weight loss, you know. So at this point, I would say, since you know what a fecal transplant is, look to your left. Now look to the right. Did you see a person that somewhat looks attractive and maybe intelligent? If so, exchange your business card with them. Hey, I said, just exchange only the business card, not more. All right, you can do that later. It's still a family show here. Good. So that's what you need to think about, right? Well, let's look back into this thing because I want you to connect more dots, right? So we now connected a little bit obesity, body weight with the gut, with the microbiome. We talked a little bit about the brain. We may even talk a little bit more about the immune system and body weight, things like that. But let's look. I mean, you want to be beautiful. We have all these great products for your skin. It's not working without the right microbiome. Right? So this is why when you look at Young Living products, a lot of the like Inner Beauty collagen from last year has tapioca fiber. It's a prebiotic. It feeds the bacteria, your microbiome, right? So you just need to realize that these products that Young Living produces are done with a lot of intelligence, which tells me that the people in the product development team have a quite good microbiome. Anyway, so let's look at that skin, brain, and immune system. Let's have a look real quick at the immune system. What do you think is your immune system in your body? Well, your tonsils maybe, your appendix maybe, then you have some cells, right, that we manipulate with vaccines sometimes. And that's what you think is your immune system. But we have tissue in the gut. We call it like gut-associated lymphoid tissue. It's a complicated word. We just say GALT. Or we have something called mucosa associated, or mucosal, that's the gut wall, associated lymphoid tissue, we call that MALT. That's part of the immune system, and it's 70% of your immune system. 70%. So if your gut is not good, you're going to catch about every cold that comes along. And obesity is not really friendly to the gut, therefore not really friendly to the immune system. And so when we do lockdowns, for example, and in the first year of a lockdown, the average American gained 29 pounds. What do you think did that do to the microbiome of that person? It decreased the immune system because 70% of the immune system sits right there. Was that good to defend those things that are flying around in the air? Probably not, right? Let's go at something else. Old people like me, very old people, seem to be healthy because otherwise we wouldn't get that old, right? So longevity, people that are 100 years and older, you find all around the world. We call these longevity zones or blue zone, B zones, L zones, whatever. A lot of people went around the world, wrote books about that. In fact, Gary Young went to these zones. And one zone you're going to see is Hansa, Pakistan. That's where we found your einkorn. And in Ninja Valley, he found the Ninja Rio, where we got from Ninja Red and Ninja Greens now. So a lot of people did that, and they wrote books about it. And the books always say there's two common denominators for longevity zones. One would be it's high in the mountains, so people walk a lot. They don't cook a lot because not enough wood. They do a lot of raw costs, things like that. And then there are the islands. Obviously, they fish a lot of omegas that we just heard about, a lot of algae. They get up early, they work, in the good hours, they're not late at night, all that stuff. So they were very happy writing a lot of books. These are the two things that make you old, 100 years and older. But the science just changed a couple of years ago. They just found, through fecal transplants, that a good microbiome of young mice could stop the damage done in old mice, in the brain, in the eye, in the gut, just done by age and eating the wrong stuff. So if you take poop from a young mouse that is still healthy, and you put it into an old mouse that already has some memory issues and problems in the brain, it does not only stop it, it might reverse it, okay? And then they did the same thing the other way around just to prove that it works. So they took poop from the old mice and put it in young healthy mice, and within weeks, the young healthy mice started showing dementia and other problems in the eye and the gut. So the microbiome is the one common ground all around the world for older people that get 100 years and older. It's the microbiome. And the microbiome really depends on your lifestyle. Lifestyle will do it, whether you're in a mountain or somewhere on an island. The lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, healthy food, good for the microbiome, will make you part of those people that get 100 years and older. So at this point, we also need to talk a little bit more about the brain. Whether you're laughing at my bad jokes or you're crying like need a lot of napkins, it all depends on your microbiome. So whether you're in a good mood today, it's your gut. It's not your brain. And so how does that work? How can this possibly work? Well, it's quite, so here's the big question. How does it work? How does the gut connect to the brain? And it's not that difficult. When you have an inflammation in the gut because you eat bad food, over-processed food, these microbes are damaged. They start producing inflammatory compounds. The gut wall is damaged. It all goes into your bloodstream and flows around your body. And these compounds like fatty tissue. And what do you think your brain is? It's basically pure fat. That's why omega greens is great for your brain too, because it goes right there and will stimulate your brain. So this is a gut inflammation automatically means a brain inflammation. This is the explanation that when you don't feel really well, when you have too much stool or too little, or it's grumbling, you forget stuff. Hopefully you still remember the name of your spouse, but you forget, or your children, but you forget stuff. Your brain starts not working properly, and that's the reason why. So when we look at the cut of a brain, we see one side a healthy and the other side not so healthy brain, right? And we look at the specific area that determines memory and mood, whether you're in a good mood or a bad mood. It's all sitting in the same place, part of that. And it's called the hippocampus. It's part of the limbic system. We, Young Living, love the limbic system because a lot of essential oils seem to be attracted to the limbic system and may do some stuff with your emotion, relaxation. It's all hidden in that kind of area of the brain. But when you have an inflammation, look what happens. There's a little red square on the healthy side. Look at the not healthy side. It's shrinking, it's going away. And when that shrinks and goes away, this is when you start forgetting the name of your children. You forget what you just said, the same thing about 20 times in the last 20 minutes. So you keep on repeating yourself. And then suddenly you start hugging someone and you're full of love. And 2 minutes later, you're angry at everybody in the world because your emotions are not stable. So in today's medicine world, you kind of lost choice. I mean, it's like game over. We don't really have something yet for that kind of a brain damage that is caused by age and bad food and overprocessed food, but not so fast. Here's research, and I'm going to read that sentence. Adult hippocampal neurogenesis is regulated by the microbiome. So that sounds pretty complicated. Let's put that apart. Hippocampus, we just talked about, memory and mood is sit there in part of the brain. Neurogenesis, neuro is the brain. Genesis, you know, from the Bible is creation. Well, I'm telling you here, neurogenesis, you can recreate brain in those parts where you lose memory and where you lose your control of moods. And this stuff is regulated by your microbiome. Oh my God. So here you see starting connecting the dots between the gut, your gut health, and your brain and your memory and all these things. So when we start below with the gut, well, mood and behavior, now we understand, right? Because it's growing back the hippocampus, so it stabilizes your mood, makes you feel better, all that. Stress, not a good thing. What happens when you have stress? Have you heard about stress eating? Well, a lot of things change, and then you eat the worst stuff, and the microbiome gets worse, and now you get even more stress on the other side. Start seeing how that stuff works. Neurotransmitters are those chemicals that connect you the signals in your brain. They don't just go like electric everywhere. There's always like a little gap between, and there's a chemical called the neurotransmitter that jumps that gap for that signal to proceed. So we're going to show you. I'm going to show you how these neurotransmitters, where they're produced, and how they produce, and what they do to your body. And then, of course, when you start eating much because you're frustrated and you're stressed out, like people did in the lockdowns, then you gain more weight, you make your microbiome worse, which makes you even more stress, and all of that, and it's a vicious cycle. It's an absolute vicious cycle. And what we need to do with healthy stuff, it starts with your healthy home, that's where you use your teas products and all that. It starts with these healthy supplements that we constantly, the product team, after Gary started that, now they're doing that for you. There's a reason for that. You need to take that stuff. You need to take this vicious cycle and turn it into a wellness cycle. That's what you need to do. And we're giving you all the tools to do so. Okay, yeah. So another little things I need to kind of tell you is the biotics of the girl. So what is a prebiotic? What is a probiotic? A prebiotic is a fiber. The probiotics are the living organisms in your gut, this fluid gold brownish thing, right? They need food. So prebiotic fibers are food. So that's why now we call a thing daily prebiotic fibers. It was launched now. It was the old ICP. You better take that daily. We should daily put the name daily on basically every product that Young Living produces, because these are daily products, right? So that's a prebiotic, is a fiber. It's food for the probiotic, which is the microbe itself. We have a wonderful product called Life 9 that is full of probiotics. A symbiotic is a product that has both. For example, Ninja Greens, full of plant fibers and fermented plants, even mushrooms. And then because it's fermented, by definition, it also has probiotics, therefore it's a symbiotic. And now in the future, you're going to see more about postbiotics, which are metabolites of those little guys that are alive inside of you, and they produce stuff too. So this is a new market, especially right now in the cosmetic, that is going pretty fast. But your entire gut biotic system is really important for optimal gut health. It's important for your gut wall, everything. And if that's not really good, you have holes in the gut. And when you have holes in the gut, I told you, this whole inflammation goes on, your brain starts failing and all these things. So it's really important that you understand prebiotics, probiotics, and then when they come together, symbiotics. So let's look at this connection a little bit between those little microbes and the gut wall, right? We thought this slimy stuff that we have was just to make the stool pass through pretty easily, so you don't have to do all that. So it comes a little easier, right? But we found that it's not, the mucus alone is already tremendously important for the gut to not be leaking. So what is a leaking gut syndrome? Or, look at that. You see on the left, a window that is pretty new, right? It has a glass inside, it has a wood frame, and it has silicone, so the rain cannot come in. But over time, the silicone starts getting cracked, so the water seeps in, maybe the wood frame starts cracking and the window breaks open, like when you see an old abandoned house and the rain comes in. Well, it's the same thing with your gut. And when that happens, whether it's coming in through the little gaps between the cells, which will be the silicone sealant, or through the window itself, through the cell itself, all that stuff will go in your body and damage your body. So you don't want to have that. And so really, you need to watch your thing, your gut, all the microbiome. Now, let's go back to these neurotransmitters because they're quite important. We always think because they're in the brain, they're called neurotransmitter because they work mostly in the brain, that they're produced in the brain. Wrong. Most of these, they have names like serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, ghrelin. There's so many of those. Most of those you're going to find out are produced where? In the gut. So serotonin, the feel-good hormone, right? The ones that brings your stress down, makes you smile when I come to you and you smile and we make a picture together, all that. Well, get what? 95% of that feel-good hormone is produced in your gut. So how do you expect to feel good and be happy when your gut is not okay? Right? Anxiety, all these things, feeling bad. Again, I'm coming back to the lockdown. We gain weight, the gut doesn't function, you don't produce serotonin. Now you feel very unhappy, you feel very stressed. Now you go into this vicious cycle. Really, really bad. Dopamine. 50% of dopamine is produced in the gut. What does dopamine do? Many things, amongst others. If it's too low, you're desperately trying to get it up. That's where mental issues come in and addictions. You try to find other things that raise it, right? All you need to do is to watch your gut. This is also the reason why during these lockdowns, we had a 500% increase in mental health issues, right? It starts with the gut. We've always been saying that. Then you look at other things like ghrelin. It's a hunger hormone. What does that do? Well, you have anxiety, so you don't sleep very well. If you don't sleep very well, less than 7 hours, you're producing ghrelin, and ghrelin makes you hungry like crazy for sugars. And now you start eating sugar. So if you sleep less than 7 hours, that's just an easy trick for you to lose weight. If you sleep less than 7 hours, you gain weight. You have no chance because your hormone work against you. So you need to start sleeping 7+ hours. Probably the sweet spot would be between 8 and 9, maybe even 10 hours. The research is going full speed right now because they always thought 7 hours or 6 hours is good. No, it's not. It's not enough, right? Then we have something called GABA. That's the stuff that calms you down. Well, guess what? It's produced partially in the microbes themselves. Of course, if your gut is not okay, you're going to be all nervous, right? You cannot be relaxed. Even if you do yoga, you need your gut to be good for yoga, right? And then you have heard about melatonin. You can buy it everywhere in the store now, supplement stores, right? It helps you sleep. And we all know it's produced somewhere in the brain. Did you know that 400 times more melatonin is produced in the gut? So if your gut is not okay, your sleep cannot be okay. And if your sleep is not okay, you gain more weight. And if you gain more weight, your immune system is not okay. And if all that works, your brain doesn't work, your memory doesn't work. Do you start connecting these dots? Right? I really want you to see that. And I want you to understand that this company is giving you products that people have thought a lot about it. Gary was very, very, very centered on the gut from day one. He didn't have $200 in the beginning, but he already had some old supplements. And what were these supplements? They were all gut supplements because he got it, right? Look at that. We have like, again, this daily fiber now, right? Prebiotic fiber. We have Life 9. We have Ninja Red. When you have a bottle of Ninja Red and it stands there for quite a while, let's say a month or two, do you realize it has like a white bottom inside the bottle? That's fibers, prebiotic fibers. So even Ninja Red is good for your gut from that perspective. So many oils we know are excellent for your gut. Ninja Greens that we launched last year, it's just absolutely phenomenal product. Power Meal. Did you know how Power Meal, let's see my time. Do you know how Power Meal got created? Steven Seagal, remember that the actor who's still around? He called Gary and said, Gary, I need a good protein to work out. And all the stuff that is out there is just so bad and full of sugar. So Mary and Gary visited Steven Seagal in his swimming pool in California. And that's Gary created Power Meal. And then a couple of years, so last year, we reformulated it to take out some more sugar. But that's, Gary was always after the health products. And we have absolute superstars here with Young Living, like Life 9. It's full of bacteria. And remember, we have like 17 billion with a B. Only 1 or 2 need to survive, and then they're going to divide, and it's going to go good for your gut. Another really good product we launched last year is Ninja Greens. It's a symbiotic. It has lots of fibers, fermented stuff, which is probiotic, and all these mushrooms. I mean, it should say daily Ninja Greens. This is something you need to take every single day. It's absolutely fantastic. And just by the way, We know that those who consume more than 30 different plants in 1 week have a much healthier microbiome. Imagine how your microbiome looks when you consume more than 60 every single day. This is what you have in Ninja Greens. And then we have this ICP that was now renamed in daily prebiotic fiber. So you understand what it is. It's food for your bacteria. It's so important. Look, there's just a super highway to health. And then there's no way around the gut. You just need to go through the gut to go to all these things. The microbiome is absolutely central. And I really hope that you start connecting the dots a little bit here, right? Because it's not your decision what you're going to eat tonight and tomorrow and all of that will make a big difference in your health. It's really that bad, right? And we all need help with this. We really need help. So if you're interested in this kind of topic and you want to hear more, I wrote a book about these kind of things, and I'll be talking tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the Seeds of Time and tell a little bit more about that. And we have a few books there that you can get to learn more. But just make no mistake, you depend on it. Your gut function depends on it. Your immune system depends on it. Your skeletal system, your bone, your cartilage, your thyroid function, your metabolism, your memory, your brain function, your mood, your emotions, your sleep, all of that depends on it. And mothers, your babies depend on it. They pick up your microbiome when you give natural birth. They pick up your microbiome, your breastfeed them. And for those who could not do either one, I'm sure you hug your babies once in a while and give them a kiss. That's when they pick up your microbiome. So if you make daily bad decisions, that microbiome will go over to your kid. And very fortunately or unfortunately, it attaches a tag to the genetic information of that kiddo, and that will inherit 4 or 5 generations down. So your decisions you're making today and tomorrow and after tomorrow will have an effect about 100 years from now in your family, if your family keeps on going. So what I'm just telling you here, your life depends on it, on this microbiome. And your supplements and your food and everything you do and all these beauty products. Young Living is all about wellness, fitness, beauty, and health. And this is what we're giving you with all the Young Living products, whether it's an oil, a beauty product, or a supplement, or anything else that we do, the cleaning products, it's also important. And I just want the last few seconds for you to appreciate what Gary did for you. Just look, we saw already a picture earlier today of these old supplements that he did very early on. It's called Comfort Tone. So you have a little more comfort when you sit on the stool. ICP, we just now renamed it to Daily Prebiotic Fiber. All these oils, all these power meals, these inner beauty collagen, all these things that we create, tapioca fiber. We saw that it's in one of the products again, or 2 of the products. That is what you need. So appreciate what Gary knew, because he had the gut feeling before all that research came out. Thank you very much. Go and be healthy. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Dr. Oli, thank you for always bringing such great information for us. I always love listening to him, not just that German accent, but his jokes, and most of all, his passion for the subject and how he kind of breaks it all down. I just find it fascinating that all of these different areas of our health really can be narrowed down to one core area. And I don't know about you, but when I look at my own experience over the last few years, and also just my friends and family and the circle of people around me, I don't know anyone who hasn't been touched by those issues that he was talking about. Everything from, what we joke about as being the COVID-20, the 20 pounds you put on during COVID or more, the loss of focus and concentration. I know that diagnosis of ADHD has gone through the roof. I don't think that that is a coincidence either, that more people are finding that they have been unable to concentrate and focus, or maybe it's just now coming into their focus. They're noticing it for the first time. Extreme mood changes, people that are suffering with anxiety and depression that never did before. Mental health issues are on the rise. So I just think that this information comes to us at such a pivotal time in our life and in our history. And whether it's something that we need to focus on for ourselves personally or for people and loved ones around us, this is great information to have. It just seems to me that focusing on gut health is kind of the shortcut to helping with all of those other areas, rather than, if your budget is not such that you can buy a different supplement or a different oil for every single issue, and you really want to cut to the chase and focus on gut health, it seems to me that that would be the most economical way to see an improvement in all of those other areas. So that is definitely a place that I am going to begin to focus on right now, because I have admittedly been focusing in on other areas of concern. But after listening to Dr. Oli, I realized, well, wait, what if I back up a step and I focus on gut health, and it will resolve or improve this area and that area, and maybe that and that as bonuses. So my takeaway was the Ninja Greens, which I do have and I use occasionally but not regularly. That's going to make it to the forefront of my supplements routine, as well as Ninja Red, which I'm real hit or miss whether I take that daily. But I'm going to be really focusing in on getting those into my system. And I challenge you that as you think to yourself what you're going to be doing for your health priorities and what you're going to be focusing on this season, can you implement or incorporate 2 gut supporting products into your healthy routine? Any of them. He showed so many. You probably have unopened bottles or half-used bottles of some of those things in your cabinet already. Dig those out and start to use them on a daily basis, and see if after 30 days or 60 days of regular use, if you don't find an improvement in your gut health and also in all of those areas. I would definitely be curious to hear back from you and hear your feedback on that. I also, if you have any questions about it or you want to ask me, would this work or that work, let's definitely do that during the Q&A section. What we're going to do right now is jump into the second part of our call. We're going to be hearing from Jami Nato. I do have to go and navigate to her video real quick because it's on the same page as Dr. Oli. Oops, we don't want to hear from him again. We heard that already. I got to go back to the library of all the workshops and find her video. Now, I will tell you, she also likes to talk about poop a lot. I have not heard anybody enjoy talking about poop more than Dr. Oli or Jami Nato. But she's going to be informing us more about some more of the consumable products. I find this woman completely hysterical, so I hope you get a lot of laughs along with all of the information that she's going to be sharing. So let me go ahead and
yeah. This sign worked for Jeff, so got a lot of jokes, and I like this. It's just straight up diarrhea. I mean, speaking of, every time I do public speaking, my body's like, should we diarrhea? Like, should we get some peppermint oil? I don't know why they let me on stage every year. It is shocking that they make me make a PowerPoint. So I do have things that I'm supposed to say, but I want you to know that every slide that comes up, I'll be just as surprised as you are. So let's talk consumables. Am I right? It's super sexy, but here are some numbers from lawyers that it's prepared an income disclosure statement designed to convey truthful, timely, and comprehensive information about the income that its brand partners have earned. The IDS is a tool that assists members to understand the income opportunity. This is a reflection of the work, the time, the energy, and let's give a round of applause for that. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's important. And now I click the thing, and we have to read another thing. And what Young Living likes to do is punish you by public reading. You have to say things and stress read. So here we go. Opinions expressed on this presentation are solely my own and they do not express the views or opinions of Young Living. Young Living does not endorse, is not responsible for, and makes no representations or warranties regarding such content or its accuracy. I encourage you all to verify the explanations and opinions presented. Young Living shall not be liable for any harm resulting from my awesome jokes or in connection with reliance on any such content. That was stressful. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I see you, you three. Okay, so now I'm going to do something that the gal in the main stage said not to do, and I'm going to tell you about myself. I am Jami Nato, and I do the opposite of what you tell me to do. And so I am an author, a serial entrepreneur, a mother of 4. I will corner you at a party and ask you about your gut health, and so I'm fun. But what am I right? Because I'm so affected by it. Okay, and my personal testimony is really powerful. Okay, so I have been with Young Living for 11 years to 27 years, I'm not sure, but I am a lot of like some of your wild grandma. Like I am the grandma of Young Living at this point, so you have to listen to me tell stories about probably birds, gardens, walking backwards in the snow with no shoes and no pants on, and you're gonna like it. Let's talk about supplements. When they gave me this topic, I was like, thanks, guys, that's cool. But I really love selling. And so I thought I can do this. I can teach them how to sell. I want you guys to, how many of you know that you are in the business of sales? Does anybody? It's called direct sales. And some of you are like, I educate people on life-changing products. And I'm like, are you trying to make $1? Are you trying to make $1? Yeah, then you're in sales. Okay, so I want to free you up to tell yourself a different story about sales. How many of you said, I'm just not that good at sales, right? We've said that a time or two. There are stories that you tell yourself that become truth because you say it for so long, like over and over again. So now as an elderly person, I'm going to tell you a story about my garden. Basically, I have a little ADHD, and one of the things that we do is we hyper focus on stuff, and then we become like the best at it. And I'm not trying to brag, but like I'm better at gardening than you are. And one thing, one thing that I told myself over and over and over again was, I am bad at plants. And meanwhile, that's my business at Young Living. But I would say I can't garden. I don't know how to plant from seed. I don't know how to do this. In fact, it is, I think on my bio, like on the back of my book, it's like plant killer extraordinaire. And I was trying to be funny, but you know, this year I thought maybe I'm actually like going to try and maybe I could be good at this. And you guys, I am actually really good at plants, but I told myself for so long that I was bad at it that I started to believe it. And how many harvests did I miss out on for those like 7 years that I said I wasn't good at plants? Math, 7 years of harvest. So I want you to change the script before we get in here. And this teleprompter, they are just taunting me with it. They're like, you're not on, you're not saying anything. You said you would. But I want to say, tell yourself a different story. I want you, like we're in church, to look at your neighbor and say, I'm good at sales. Yeah, and I was looking, making eye contact, so you had to say that. Okay, so I want to talk to you, since we are good at sales, I'm going to talk to you about what these trending supplements are. Okay, you guys, collagen, boom. Vitamins and minerals, bam. Sports nutrition and bodybuilding. Personally, this is my favorite one because as I am a bodybuilder, do you want to see me lunge in these clogs? Okay, no one does. Vegan friendly supplements. We got it. Immunity supporting supplements. Yes. Sleep, stress support, cognitive health supplements. These are all things that I personally am buying all the time. Here is a picture of me with zits, and you could probably see some chin hairs, but what I want to talk about is with supplements, you can say a lot more than you think you can say. Go on the website or our new app and look at what you can actually say. You have a lot more freedom than you think you do just because it's in the supplement section. But I also want to say something about selling, lest we only talk about supplements, which is what they asked me to talk to you about. They want to see your people who are looking at your stuff want to see your face. And I know it's not my favorite photo of myself. I don't like to be like, here I am without makeup again, looking crusty, buy this. But people love that. They want to see you being crusty, right? Because it makes them feel better about themselves. And so you have a unique opportunity to put your face up on the screen and say, you guys, this works for me. They don't really want to see like I'm sorry, Christina, if you're here, but they don't really want to see Christina's face. They don't know Christina. They don't know if she photoshopped it, but they trust you. So when you are a consumer of your products, which I hope that you are, of this collagen, which is like, look at my necklines right now. I'm a supermodel. Get this in your body. I have really good confidence. Okay. This is a bunch of numbers. And listen, I don't like numbers unless they're going to really, really help me. And I failed college algebra thrice. And the life lesson, stop, it's rude. The life lesson that I learned from that is you have to show up. You got to go to class. And on that 4th try, I learned some numbers, but I'm still not good at them. But I will say, if they tell me something important like these, the average person is purchasing supplements and spending $500 per year. I personally spend more because I'm better than everyone else, but 77% of Americans take at least one supplement. More numbers that are confusing, but the point is that as you get older, you take more supplements because you start caring, right? And the last thing is really important. There's 25% more women using supplements than men. And what is this company, who is this company built on? The backs of? Mostly women, and I see you, dude, okay? My man. But it's mostly these chicks, okay? So you guys have a really unique opportunity because women also direct 85% of consumer spending. You guys, the thing is that people are buying supplements, but they're not buying from you. So as like the great thought leader and theologian Taylor Swift says, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. We have to start being a little bit smarter and more strategic about how we're talking about our amazing products. What's the next slide? Let's get surprised. Okay, we are now going to talk about, look, do we have most of these products? Yes. These, you can sell as many products as you want. I would suggest you don't try to sell every single product that Young Living has, but it is important to know women are buying more than men, but everyone takes a supplement. And these are your standard things that people are buying, and we sell them. They are buying them from somewhere. But I don't want you to sell all the products that Young Living has because you overwhelm your audience. I want you to really think about, okay, here are my skills, here's my testimony, here's my experience, and here are like what my audience needs. How do you know what your audience needs in your niche? Well, your audience probably looks just like you. They're probably in the same life season. They probably have a lot of the same things that you have problems with, okay? So that's who we're gonna sell to. A lot of us are trying to say like, use this, and this product. I don't even use some of those, but we have them, you should buy them. And that doesn't work. We gotta niche it out. So I was thinking about niche. 6% of college students take a multivitamin. And we all know this because we were all eating cookie dough and ramen, and we have the autoimmune to prove it. Just me, okay. But if I were a college age student and I want to say, okay, I'm going to start selling Young Living, I'm not going into that demographic and saying like, even though you do need a multivitamin, students, what are they really into? Almost 47% of college students take protein. If I know that, I'm going to be smart and I'm going to say, hey, you know what you need? A really clean protein on your shelf. This is such a great product. Look at what it does. And that's what I'm going to be talking about. So that's an example of like niche. You want to know who your audience is and what their needs are. Okay, so a big paragraph of things. What you need to know from this is that women are really focused on reproductive health, digestive health, and bone health. These are the fastest growing things right now. What that tells us is we have supplements that help with that. These are what women are really focused on right now, okay? We want to age like little unicorns, okay? And we have products that are going to help them do that. But if I see, I'm in my 40s. I know you can't tell, but I'm in my 40s, right? We're in the decade of 40s to 50s. I'm not going to be talking about reproductive health in the same way that I did in my 20s and 30s. Those people are populating the earth. God bless them. And some of you are outliers. I see you. But 20s and 30s, you're going to be focusing on products that are going to help these natural, great, healthy reproductive systems. When we're moving into 40s and 50s, we're like, hot flashes, am I right? And like, we're wearing armpit pads and things like that. Not me, but some people are. And someone asked me in the hallway, like, are you going to show your armpit pads? And I was like, no, I'm classy now. I just wore sleeves. So yeah, I don't even know what we were supposed to talk about there. But so this is really cool. Surprised myself. 74% of Americans are concerned that supplements are not backed by trustworthy research. Guys, people care about where their products come from. And I love this because I think for a bit we got away from seed to seal and thought that maybe that wasn't important. People don't care. They really, people are so strapped. They care about cash. What's the lowest price point they can get? And no, they don't. Actually, we're all spending a bunch of money right now. And again, people are just not buying from you. So we need to fix that. And so what we're going to talk about is all the amazing things that we already know. We know that we have an incredible product. We know that it is like through this strenuous process. We know that it annoyingly goes out of stock, right? Because they say, you know what, that doesn't match our standards. When something goes out of stock, instead of not talking about it, I talk about that thing over and over again. And I say, we are the type of company that if a product doesn't meet our standards, we won't put it out. And you know what? When this product is in stock, you need to buy 75 cases of it. Should I have worked on QVC? Yeah. But this is my calling. I heard that laugh. Some of you were spending late nights on QVC like I was. And that's why I'm weird. But we have such an incredible company that cares about you, and they care about the consumer and the customer. And there are many lawsuits going on right now. They did third-party testing on things that are on the shelves. They did DNA barcoding to see are people really telling the truth about what they're putting in their supplements? 79% were not telling the truth. They either had it mismarked or they had kind of weird fillers in it that weren't supposed to be there. That's 79% of stuff on shelves. We don't do that to our consumer. And we don't do that to our consumer because we want our products to work, because we want you to see the difference and talk about it with your friends. And because we have brand partners and we want you to win. You guys, this is an incredible company that cares for you and for the customer. And when you pair that, we're not making a quick buck. We're not putting stuff on the shelf and saying like, it could be melatonin or something, horse hairs. I'm sorry that I said that. Okay, this was really, really fun for me. The US dietary supplement market is expected to grow by 78.9% in less than 10 years to 56.7 billion by 2024. You guys, supplements are the jam right now. Consumables are the jam, and we need to be talking about them. We are an essential oils company, but right now people are going crazy over consumables. And I would say just having a hand in the market right now, people are demanding it. So yes, keep talking about your essential oils, but you also need to be saying like, hey, here are these products, they're working for me. And you're going to kind of niche it down, which we'll do a little activity. I'm not going to let you guys be lazy later, but okay. How do you sell? Sell the problem you solve, not the product you have. Okay. Let it just linger. Because what we're doing is being like, here's this cool product and you can buy it from me and it does this. So here it is. Okay. That's like, we want to do this backwards. So I'm going to tell you kind of how I do this, and not in like Young Living sense, but in another area. What I like to do is, me personally, I have ADHD, as I told you before, but what I like to do is show people memes about ADHD. I like to show people my nasty like piles everywhere and be like, I'm a hoarder, right? Isn't that cool? And I am just making fun of myself constantly. I will talk about how my husband will be talking to me and I black out And because he was talking like calendar, which I don't comprehend. And I'll have to stop my husband and say, like, can you text me that? Because like I blacked out and I wasn't listening to you. And he's a good man. He's a good man. But I'm just like getting honest now, because what would happen is I would pretend like I was listening and then I would forget to pick up the kids. And then you get the like shame call and they're like, are you coming? And I'm like, I'm literally in the parking lot. I'm not. I'm in my pajamas, like knitting with cat hair. Like I found a new hobby, so I got distracted. I'm gross and I'm sorry. So back to what I was saying. I talk about this stuff all the time, right? But then I swoop in with a little solution and I'm like, hey guys, have you ever heard of hooks? I put hooks everywhere in my house because I can put my piles on the wall and I can see the pile. And I honestly, this is a life tip for you. I think, maybe it keeps your clothes fresher because they're kind of airing out. I don't know. I told you I'm gross, but so I'm like, you should get a lot of hooks, or I'll say, hey, just have some healthy communication with your spouse. Show them funny ADHD videos, and they'll start to be like, oh, I'm not so alone. Or just like, there's a myriad of solutions that I'm constantly pointing people to and saying like, hey, it's not just the problem that we've been talking about, but look what's working for me. So imagine if you apply that principle to your Young Living business. You want to be showing memes about menopause or being a young mom and all your kids climbing on your face. And I understand that, like we've all been there, but showing those funny things, sharing those funny videos are really, really powerful, because you're going to swoop in and say like, hey, you know what I do for energy? And we have lots of fun things for that, right? But you're going to be getting in front of their face with these amazing products that we have that you've kind of talked up. And now they trust you because they feel like, oh, I know you, you're a real human. You're actually a mess and we feel sorry for you. So we're going to buy products from you. I also want to say, this is my last slide, but since I have time on the clock, we're going rogue. If you see someone in black, like with a shepherd's hook, it's because I didn't script this. But I want to say, this isn't about supplements, but this is about gardening again. I watched a video about how to prune basil, because reels are like my source of education. And this reels came across and it was like, this is how you prune basil. And I've had basil in my garden for a while because it's easy to grow and hard to kill. And I had been like just peeling off the leaves from time to time for like recipes that I need. And they were like, absolutely don't do that. You're stupid if you do that. And I'm like, no, never. And I was like peeling, they flower at the top. And if you peel the flower off, you'll get your basil for a little bit longer. Well, my basil never lasted that long. And I was like, well, that's just how basil is. It's not me. And then I learned how to prune the basil. And you have to prune it at the stem, and you prune big chunks. But they said on the video, which they could have been like serial killers, and I still followed their advice, but they said, if you do this, you'll have a basil forest. And so I went out there with shears, and my plants are like, I act like they're people because I'm weird. And I'm like, sorry guys, I'm just going to get in here and just boop, so I'm going to town on this. And when you looked at it after I did that, I was like, I think I'm going to have to go to Lowe's and get another basil. But what do you know, like 2 or 3 days later, this basil is like, it's not going up and bolting up, which is what you don't want to do. Come to my planting workshop later. You want it to go like out like this, okay? And then I start pruning it even more. I'm pruning, I'm picking, and whatever it's going. Basically, I'm a basil farmer now. If you guys want some basil, you can email me and I'll send you some fresh for a price. No, heaven forbid I have a hobby that I don't turn it into like an entrepreneurial pursuit, but that's not the point of the story. I know that you have felt pruned over these last couple of years. Like I have felt pruned, and nobody goes to sleep at night and is like, oh God, with your mighty hand, would you surprise me with a little pruning of the stem? Like, just get me at my ankles tomorrow. No one is doing that. And so, but it happens, you guys, it happens. And I just want to say, we look around, first of all, look around and see these people who are here Their roots are so deep. They are not going anywhere. They are poised for growth. We are the remnant, and we are going to, guys, we are going up. We were pruned and it sucked, and I kept looking around like, who's the next stem? You? It's super tight. Somehow Hollywood has not been pursuing me. But I just want to say, I know that we don't want to sit and focus on all the hard things that have happened to us, but I wanted to just encourage you and say, we are poised so greatly for growth. The roots that you made during the storms, the roots that you made during the pruning, they go deep, and we are going to have a freaking basil forest in the form of success. And they're like, please stop talking about gardening. If you could actually move on to any other stories in your life. But I just want to say, you guys, being here and being with you, I know that it feels small and I know it feels a little bit weird, but I want to recognize the energy that I have felt in this convention. Have you guys felt the energy? Like, there is a complete shift, and it's so exciting, and I'm so excited to do it with you guys. And I want you to know what's coming for you as the remnant. You stayed, you did the hard work, you're still here, you're still talking about your product, you still mean it. You weren't faking it. Give yourself a round of applause. You weren't faking it. You weren't just here for the business. We were here for each other, okay, you guys? And this year is going to be the best year yet. We are going to go forward. The end. Love you guys.
All right. I feel like there is nothing I can add to. Jami said it all. And I just think that that's fantastic. I agree. And I could relate with so much of what he was sharing. So I hope that if you are a business builder, a brand partner with Young Living, that was really encouraging and uplifting for you to hear. We are going to segue into our interactive chat. So if you're here with us live, don't go anywhere. And if you can and would like to turn on your video camera, I'm going to end this call for those that are watching the replay. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you the next time. And I will make this available for watching YouTube.